Appreciate everybody tuning in. Today, we're going to talk about growing your resale business in 2026. What you can do right now to move your store forward. That is what we are talking about today, is growing you and your business. We're going to move along pretty fast here today. Throw your question. When you have a question, feel free to throw it in the chat. My goal is to answer them all at the end. If I miss your question, Sabrina's in the background to make sure I get them. And I will also, you'll have all my contact information. I'm always here to answer your questions and make sure that we get it answered. Don't be afraid to ask a question. Oops, hang on a second. Let me hit the right screen there. Quick, a little bit about me. I am America's retail champion of a title bestowed on me by the National Retail Federation. And what that is for my advocacy work. I actually have a seat at the table with our policy leaders crafting legislation that works for small businesses. And it's an important seat. I really am honored to be that. I am a graduate of the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business program and the SBA Emerging Leaders programs. I have coached hundreds and thousands, actually, in the thousands of resale stores and consignment stores nationwide. I have been a business consultant and coach for more than 3 decades. I am aging myself. I started working with pharmacies and medical equipment suppliers, worked with traditional retailers, and then woke up one day in the resale space, where I've been in the resale space for nearly 3 decades. And I sit on the board of the Retail Association of Massachusetts. Again, having a seat at what's happening in retail, because what happens in traditional retail is sort of the future of resale. So having that seat at the table, seeing what's going on, and having all those industry contacts really is a tremendous asset. Your store can only grow as fast as you do. This session is about you growing. And when you grow, your store grows. It is just that simple. Every store owner here, okay? Every store owner who's watching this, every store owner who catches the replay, every business you walk into, you have 2 things in common with. It doesn't matter. It's not the stuff you sell. It's that you don't have enough time and you don't have enough money. There's always more to do than there are hours in the day. That clock keeps on ticking, and you look up and, oh my God, where it is. We were just talking before we came on, and I'm like, I can't believe it's noon already. And it seems like there's never enough money around. There's never enough money. There's no slack in the budget for those extra things, or those things. But we're going to make slack. We're going to make time, because what you focus on, what you put your lens on matters more than anything else. This is a tough one for store owners, for entrepreneurs. It really is. Progress over perfection. We tend to focus on getting things just right rather than making that forward progress. Taking a step in the right direction, okay? Taking the next step is more important than taking the perfect step. Picking 1 to 2 things, not 12 things. Picking 1 to 2. This is another thing that's really hard for business owners. Picking 1 to 2 things, doing them well, beats perfect every time. Every single time. Okay? And that doesn't mean sloppy. Progress does not mean sloppy. Okay? It just means our idea of perfect is never there. And moving things forward. We're about moving the needle. Okay? That little bit. Because that moving the needle has a great multiplication effect. And it leads to great results. Here's how we're going to step through things today. Here's how we're going to step through. We're going to have 4 stops on our talk today. We're going to talk about mindset and getting out of your own way, because your store can't grow past where you are. We're going to talk about inventory And some of you are like, I don't need to talk about inventory, but I'm going to prove you wrong. Okay. I'm going to prove you wrong today. Okay. We're going to talk about social media and we're going to talk about your website. And some of you are saying, I don't have a website. Well, that's okay. We're still going to talk about it. And you're going to find out why. And you're going to say, oh, I didn't see that. I'm glad I talked about that, Neil. So that is the journey that we are taking today. And in that, I'm going to be challenging you to find your priority, to find your next step, to find where you are going. Not the 12 things, the 1 to 2 things. The most important investment you'll ever make in your store is the one you make in yourself. When you invest in yourself, okay, you are investing in your store. When you invest in your mind, when you invest in going in the right direction and having things, my own family picks up me sometimes. I'm like, it all starts up here. And it does, because we have this, as an entrepreneur, you have so many things going on in your mind. Okay, you see something and you're like, ooh, I can make that happen. Okay, but you are your own speed bump. You are your own speed bump. You are not being held back by the market, the economy, or your location. You are being held back by yourself. And I know some of you are going to challenge me and push back on this. Have you seen gas prices lately, Neil? Yes, I have. Have you gone out shopping, Neil? Yes, I have. Okay. But those are external factors you can't control. Okay. You can't control those. You can control everything in your 4 walls. And that's where your focus should be. Your focus shouldn't be on the gas pump. You can't control that. You can't control what's going on in the global economy, but what you can do is control what's going on inside your 4 walls. Okay? Don't hold yourself back. Okay? That is where you restrain yourself. You put these limits on yourself on what you can accomplish. I'm going to ask you a question. Is growing your store a wish, a goal, or a fantasy? And keep in mind that when I use the term growth, that I use a word of growth, but the definition of growth is yours to define. For some of you, that means more stores. For some of you, that means employing more people. Okay? For some of you, that's a goal. Okay? For some of you, that is a higher dollar sales. Okay? And, it's a sales number. I want to reach $1 million. I want to reach $500,000. For some of you, it's a milestone. I want to be the best in my community. So whatever growth means to you is what's important. Okay? What growth means to me, okay, in growing my businesses is completely different than everyone else's. And it should be deeply personal what growth means to you. Okay? Because once you define whether you're doing a wish, goal, or fantasy, it determines everything else that happens after that. Think about your world and what you're shooting for. A wish is simply, I want more customers. Okay, I hear this often. Neil, I need more customers. Okay, a wish really does feel good. Okay, and I'm a big Disney person. We're a big Disney household. Okay, and so I know how to wish upon a star. Okay, but a wish feels good, but requires nothing of you. No plan, no deadline, no accountability. Just hope, and hope is not a plan. Okay, a goal is, as an example, is I'll add 10 consigners or customers by the end of Q2. A goal has a number, a date, and an action. And it should scare you. It should scare you, because if it doesn't scare you, you're not dreaming big enough. Okay? Your goal isn't big enough. If you can reach out and grab it, if you can reach out and grab your goal, okay, you aren't thinking big enough. You are underestimating your potential. Okay? A, a simple example of that is teaching your kid to swim. If you're teaching your kid to swim and you stand at one end of the pool and they're at the other, what do they ask you to do? They ask you to come closer. And you're just like, okay, honey, hop in. And they're like, no, 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 come closer. And then all of a sudden you're right here. Okay, they can't fail. You want your goal to be far enough away that it's a stretch, but not so far away that you're going to drown. Far enough away that it's a stretch, but not so far away that you're going to drown. You also want to not be James Bond when you're setting a goal, or when you're making a bet on your business, or a bet on yourself. Okay, James Bond, in every James Bond movie, you don't even have to be a big James Bond fan. There's a casino in every James Bond movie. And what does he do in those movies? He goes in and he puts all the chips in the center. We're never doing that in your business. You shouldn't be doing that. You should never be risking it all. And the last is, if this is a fantasy, I know if I post more, it'll all come together. A fantasy feels like a plan. It really does. It can feel like a plan. Like, that's taking an action, sort of. If I post more, it'll all come together. That's kind of taking an action. Okay? But it's busy work. It's wearing busy as a badge of honor. Okay? It wears busy as a badge of honor, but never actually moves you forward. So, wishing versus committing. I want more traffic, walk-in traffic. I'm going to reach out. Committing is I'm going to reach out to 5 consigners or customers this week. I hope things pick up is a wish, but by June 1st, we're going to carry 3 new brands is a commitment. Someone should consign more, you know? Committing is updating your hours or making it easier for people to consign with you, or sell to you if you're buy outright, or donate with you if you're a not-for-profit. I need better inventory somehow. So committing would be posting 3 inventory reels this week. One side of this chart changes your store, the other side changes nothing. Okay? Wish versus commitment. Wish versus commitment. But you're the variable. You're the variable. Your energy sets the ceiling for the team's energy. Okay? They won't go above your energy. Okay? Your beliefs up here. Okay? If you don't think it's possible, it's not possible. Okay? You have to believe in your dream. You have to believe in your goal. If you don't believe it, you can't sell it to anybody else. You can't sell it to your customers. You can't sell it to your suppliers. And if you have a team, you certainly can't sell it to them. Your habits, not what you say should be done, but your habits become your store's operating system. Your personal growth is the only growth that isn't optional. This gets into progress over perfection. Action, actually getting movement, cures paralysis. Because as owners, we sit and fret with all the things in our head. And you have to remember that 99% of the worst things that have ever happened to you or have ever gone wrong in your business or your life have happened in your head. They never happened in real life. They never did. The owners moving fastest don't have the best plan. Okay? There is no perfect moment. Okay? Don't look for permission. Don't look for another store. Social media is like junior high. Okay? Momentum is the strategy. Social media, looking at what other store owners are doing, isn't the validation that you think it is. And it certainly isn't a growth strategy. If you're said even more simply, if you think the grass is greener on the other side, you should start watering your own lawn. You should start watering your own lawn, because when you focus on your own lawn, your world will get better. You will get better. And even talking about at the beginning, I was like, is one of your goals to have higher sales? Well, you have to remember that the top number, when you're looking at an income statement, and I don't want to get too accountingly on you, but if you're looking at your income statement, some stores' goals want to be $1 million. Okay, that's a goal. I have stores that they want that as their goal. Okay, much better goal is to be the most profitable store, because I've worked with stores that are doing $2 million in sales, making less money than the store doing $200,000 in sales. But remember, you can't pour from an empty cup. Owner burnout is a growth issue, not just a personal one. When you're exhausted, you can only see the problem in front of you. Okay? You can only see what's in front of you. You can't see the opportunity around the corner. I talked about busy as a badge of honor. Busy isn't the same as productive. Busy is not the same as productive. Working in the store 60 hours a week, so you can say is that you're getting stuff done, is not a business strategy. It's a trap dressed up as dedication. The store becomes your ceiling. When you stop protecting time to think and plan, the store stops growing. It runs because of you, not with you. Another way of saying this is early in your business, okay? All of us have been there, okay? And it doesn't matter if you're getting ready to open your store or you've been in business 20 years, okay? When you're early in business, okay, the harder you work, the more you make. Okay, early in your days in business, the harder you work, the more you make. As your business grows, as you grow, the more you think, the more you make. Okay? The more you think, the more you make. So now your job is to name it. Wish, goal, or fantasy. The one goal you've been calling a plan. Take one goal, call it a plan, write a number, write a date. Okay, if you can't measure it, okay, you can't improve it. So not 12 goals, okay, one goal. Put it down on a piece of paper. Yeah, good old-fashioned pen and paper. I'm still with that, because if it isn't written, it isn't real. So that's why during this, I challenge you to write things down. I challenge you to not just take this in and say, oh, Neil had a good idea. I challenge you to challenge yourself and actually write it down. Inventory. It's always the inventory. It doesn't matter what you're selling. Clothing, home decor, antiques, vintage. The one thing that's always true is it's always the inventory. Okay? And watching your inventory really matters. And if you're new to the industry, or you've been at it a long time, the one thing that is very true in your store is you get what you have, not what you say you want. The reality is, and we all know this, especially as we head into the late spring and summer season and garage sales and everything else, consigners bring you what they want to get rid of, and Americans have way too much stuff. Your intake people accept things because they don't want to upset people. And your store fills with items that don't sell. you wait and hope and you try to wring it out, okay? The stuff that sits and sits. What you're not looking at, even if you have an amazing landlord, okay, is that you have floor space occupied by slow sellers. Buyers stop coming in when nothing excites them. Your best customers, okay, and I hear this all the time, my best customers show up for my and make a beeline to my discount rack. That's not your best customer. Your best customers coming in week after week and seeing what's new. Your best customers are bringing you money. Okay? Your best customers are buying it right now before it gets marked down. Okay? Your best customers want that. You get what you have. I mean, I remember one time early in my own home decor store, somebody took a bowling ball. By the end of the week, we had 8 bowling balls. We weren't a sporting goods store, but that's what happens. Okay? Yeah, you have to stop waiting and focus on what sells. Using your systems, okay? This is where software comes in, okay? Identifying your top sellers, what brands, categories, and price points is key. Okay, not all brands at all price points. You know, some people will say, well, I love when I get Louis Vuitton and Gucci in. Okay, and that's great if you're a luxury store and that's your core market. But what's your everyday seller? What brands, what categories are moving it? And don't let me come into your store. And I'm gonna pick on SimpleConsign here for a second. I love them to death. Okay, but this is really a user issue. Okay, don't use the uncategorized category. Actually categorize your inventory. Make sure that it matches the department in your store. I know I'm not walking into your store and seeing an uncategorized department. I shouldn't see it in your data. So your data tells a story of what your customers are wanting. Not what's sitting on your floor, what people are actually spending money on, because that's what matters. Okay? If you don't have the items that you know you need to have, source it. Okay? Estate sales, liquidators, use it. Even other thrift shops outside your area are great sources for the inventory you need, because people will bring you what they see, not what you say you want. Manage your intake, okay, by creating criteria that draws consigners toward the products you actually want. Not everything, the right things. Saying you want tops is not an answer, okay? Saying tops are flying out the door, I need more tops is great. Or purses are flying out the door, or I can't keep sofas in stock is not the language that translates to the right item in your store. Okay, saying I need leather sofas and nailhead sofas in, okay, I can't keep leather sofas in stock will get you more leather sofas. Okay, saying I need more Kate Spade because we can't keep Kate Spade in stock will get you more Kate Spade. Okay, you have to treat your consigners like a husband, okay, like a guy. Okay, give them a list and tell them to get this in. But when you give a list, okay, and you communicate that, it has to be short and sweet. You know, so like I said, we can't keep Lululemon in stock. But we're full on couches. We need accent chair and lighting. Giving them the exact words and not giving them a dozen things that you want. Okay, giving them when you're talking to your suppliers, 1 to 3 things is the answer. And you can say, well, I print a list every Monday and I put it up on my Facebook page. I put it up on there. That's great. I'm not saying that's great for you. It's not great for your consigners. Okay, they need short and sweet. And don't try to beat the psychology. Okay, this is decades in the building. Okay, for those of us actually old enough to know dialing phone numbers. Okay, and I'm talking the rotary or the touch tone. Okay, back in the day, 3 digits. The first part of your phone number is 3 digits. 3-digit area code, 3-digit prefix, 4-digit number. Threes, lists of 3 are great, okay, because the mind is great at remembering it. And so keeping it that way in the 3s is great. Right now, driving resale demand, according to ThreadUp is a treasure trove of data. So whether you love or hate ThreadUp, they do some phenomenal research. And these are their top brands right now that are driving demand. Okay, and it's really cool to look at what's driving demand, because this is what, again, is driving their dollars. Okay, this is what's driving their dollars. And you were like, ew, Gap, Old Navy? I know some of you said that. I knew some of you cringed at that. Okay, but in ThreadUp's customer, it sells. So just be aware of what's selling in clothing right now. And most of you, even the higher end stores that have a higher threshold in clothing, okay, have an average price point. When you sort everything else out, yes, you have this tier that breaks out, but most of you have a tier around 20 bucks, 30 bucks. That is your bread and butter. That is putting money in the register day after day. The other side of it, of the ThreadUp report, is what's moving fast. Okay, what is gaining ground? They're not the fastest like on the other slide, but they are gaining ground fast. And Carhartt, Abercrombie and Fitch, okay, yes, the Y2K revival is real. Shoot, I remember Y2K and the end of the world coming. Showing my age here a little bit. And vintage Nike, I mean, pre-2010, I mean, that's vintage. I guess I would qualify then as vintage. But that is, being aware of what's trending, because ThreadUp moves a whole lot of volume. They aren't really your competition. They're just helping you show another look at things and another way that things are happening. But the same principles apply to every category. Home goods is moving nicely. All that furniture that people bought, that cheap furniture that people bought early in the pandemic, is all dying. People are looking for good quality furniture again. And it is one of the fastest growing resale categories. Vintage, nostalgic, rare items are commanding premium prices. I mean, some of it is just crazy. I looked at some of the stuff that I had as a kid and things, and it's just crazy. But using the reports in your system, using the data, that is what is so great. Do not use your system, okay? I mean, I'm going to give another push for our friends here at SimpleConsign. Don't use your system as an over-glamorized cash register. So many of you today are using that system but not using the reports. You're using it to ring up sales, to pay consigners, but you're not looking at the data of what you should be saying yes and no to, what you should be telling people you want more of. Remember this, okay? When I do on-site strategic visits, one of the things is inventory does not get better with age. You are not selling fine wine and bourbon. I have stores that sell wine, okay? You are not selling fine wine and bourbon. Your inventory doesn't get better with age. It doesn't get better, okay, the longer it sits on your floor. Expireds are not the profit center. The profit center is the item that you can get in today and get out the door tomorrow. That's where the money is, okay? That is where the money is. Your landlord doesn't give you a discount, okay, if for the old inventory section, because, hey, you paid rent on that last month, okay? Your regular customers notice, okay? Your best customers, again, I talked about it before a little bit, but your best customers are the ones that are buying the new inventory, that want to come in and see what's new and will pay for it, okay? Your best consigners will continue to bring you the best stuff when their stuff sells quickly, when it turns into cash quickly. And slow inventory ties up your capacity. If you're a buy outright store, it ties up to seed new product. Keep it moving, okay? It does not get better with age. And one of the things I do when I'm out in stores is I look for the oldest inventory. When I am out doing a strategic planning visit on site with the store, I'm looking for the old stuff because it does not get better. Okay, just like a bologna sandwich left under your rack. If I left a bologna sandwich under your rack, it would not be better tomorrow. It would not be better next week. It would not be better 3 months from now when it's expired. Okay, that is not where you make your money. Um, uh, you know, what people are giving you full price for is where the money is. Okay, that is where the money is. Okay, money does not lie. Okay, we do it to ourselves. We lie to ourselves. We say that is. I had a store as a client once. It was a traditional retailer. And they were so excited. One time I was meeting with them at the beginning of the year, and they were like waiting at the door, all excited for me to come in. And they're like, I came in and I've been there several times before. They're like, do you see it? Do you see it? And I looked around, and literally the elephant was gone from the room. The elephant was gone. They had this big, gigantic elephant. And they're like, see, I told you it would sell. It was just waiting for the right person to come in. And she came in a few days before Christmas, and she was so excited. It spoke to her. It was the right item. I told you, Neil, you were wrong. Like, I can be wrong. I can own that. Go ahead and remind me when you bought that. They went over to their computer, and they looked it up in their system, and they pulled it up, and they're like, we've had that since May 5 years earlier. Okay, they named the elephant. Okay, it does not get better with age. That elephant took up so much space on their sales floor that could have had things that were selling. Okay, what is taking up? Name the item. Name the item sitting on your floor the longest. There's your challenge. Okay, it costs you, even if you have the best landlord, you can't say, okay, this 10 square feet, don't charge me rent on that. Okay, how many times are you going to pay rent on that same item? Mark it down, move it out. Okay, even if you're a buy outright store, donating that item will do more for your business. Okay, even if you have real cost on it. And buy outright stores are the worst because they're like, Neil, I paid $5 for it, but it is costing you more than $5 to keep it. Okay, not everything works. Okay, the mistake isn't always in that you said yes to it. The mistake is in that you kept it like it was a family pet. Okay, don't keep things that are not working. And what doesn't work in your store might work in another store. That's okay. Just your customers aren't that into it. That's okay too. That's okay. Let's talk about social media. Let's talk about social media. A lot of you have a love-hate relationship with social media. Social media is an incredibly powerful tool, but you're building your business on somebody else's land. You're renting space on social media. On the best day, you're renting space. Okay? Facebook changes the algorithm and your reach drops. Or worse yet, they say you did something wrong and they close your page. Or someone hijacks your page. They change the rules, go away or pivot. Okay, I know lots of stores that built on things on Vine or Google Plus. And your followers are not your customers until they buy, okay? And you actually have real contact information. And you need to have real contact information, okay? You will do more with an email list and actually an old-fashioned mailing list. And I'm not saying ignore social media because that's not what this is, but understand that you do not own it. Okay, we feel like it's ours. It's our page, Neil. It's our page. And I hear it. I hear it all the time. But it's not. When I get the calls early in the morning, Neil, my page doesn't work. I don't have access. And all those years that you built it, that your blood, sweat, and tears, that you showed up, it all goes away and you don't have the contact that you did before. Use it, just don't be James. Don't put all your chips in that basket. Don't put all your chips in that basket. Social media allows you to amplify your voice. It is a great microphone, but it is not a foundation. It allows you to showcase new inventory. It allows you to build community awareness. It allows you to have actual events. Lives can build an audience that show up. It can build trust before the visit. Again, the know, like, and trust factor. People do business with us versus ThreadUp versus the RealReal. RealReal, all these public companies have to incentivize the use. Okay? You build know, like, and trust. It gives you a way to communicate what you need. Again, 1 to 3 things, not 13 things. And it allows you to promote events and sales. Social lives are great. But remember, social lives, people have a love-hate relationship. And I know I have stores that are like, Neil, lives didn't work for me. I watch Susie's store, and Susie sells $1 million every live. Okay? And I'm using a fictitious Susie. No real Susies are being used in this presentation. Okay? I am using a fictitious one, not the Susie you think I'm talking about. But I'm telling you, they aren't doing the business you think they're doing, 1. And 2, doing a Facebook Live is about creating that know, like, and trust factor. It's about marketing your business. It's about driving people to your brick and mortar store. It's about connection with your community. It's not all about sales in the register at that moment. Okay, it's building deposits with your customers. It is building deposits with your customers and creating connection. So don't do it with the goal of, I need to generate $1,000 this week or in this live, or I need to make $100 in this live, or it has to go viral. The goal is consistency. Be consistent, show up consistently, same time, advertise it, show what's new. Okay, don't go through a lot of gyrations. Talk to people. Okay, people love to be talked to. Just like I've talked to some of you that have been in the comments today. People like to be acknowledged most of the time. That varies a little bit in as the price point goes up. Once your average price point is above $500, sometimes they don't like to be talked to as much. They don't want everybody, all their friends to know they're watching, even though they want to beat their friend out of it. But ask people to share. Give people a reason to watch. Give them something to win even by tuning in and staying tuned in. They don't have to be long. You don't have to go live for an hour. You don't have to go live for a half hour. These can be short, brief connections. They can also just be a quick tour of the store. But doing that, look at that as advertising. It is repetition. Repetition matters with it. And that is how we create connection and build know, like, and trust over time. Something the big guys can't do. So my challenge to you is to go live this week. Pick a day, set a time, announce it. Tell people in advance. Tell people in advance that you're going live. Again, you don't have to be perfect. Don't be afraid of being perfect. Being natural matters so much more than being perfect or having the perfect items to show. Just grabbing whatever's off to the side. The nearest rack is fine. Okay? Showing them the latest furniture that came into your store. Connecting with them in that way allows great connection. So let's talk about your website. let's talk about your website. And I know some of you are going to push back on this. Okay, push back on it. But your website, you actually own it. You own your website. There's no algorithm, no landlord. Social media is rented space. Your website you own. Yourstore.com is something you own. Okay? And that can't be overstated. Okay? That can't be overstated because directing people to that, even from social media, is incredibly important. You control every word of it. Okay, you won't wake up in the morning and have it turned off by somebody else. Okay, somebody else can't throttle it. It is yours and yours to own. Okay, and teaching your consigners and your shoppers to use it, it becomes a great tool and a great resource. But, most stores only show the expensive stuff. You know how expensive it is, Neil, to take pictures of items and things? Again, you are focusing on perfection. I can tell you until the item reaches an average price point of over $500, the perfect picture isn't what matters. It matters the quantity of items that you have up there. Okay? But when you only show your expensive items in your store and not a cross section, okay, of all price points, it turns some people off from your store. Oh, well, I can't afford to go there. They only have the expensive stuff. And if you only have expensive stuff, that's great. Okay, I'm not dissing the expensive stuff, but showing a cross section, because even if um, you have, a ton of $500 and $1,000 and $2,000 items, my guess is you have some $100 items too. Showing those and giving a cross section matters. Showing that lifts your sales. Okay, it should feel like I am walking through your actual front door. Okay, I should see a cross section of items there because curiosity brings them in. Okay, and drives traffic. And I'm going to talk some more about that. You know, but before I get to that, are you open when your customers are actually shopping? Now, is the only day of the week that I give a pass on. And the only reason I give a pass to store owners on that is if you have a bona fide religious reason that you're closed. If you have a bona fide religious reason, okay, that you are closed on Sunday, I'll give you a pass on Sunday. But otherwise, this isn't my opinion. This is Placer AI. Placer.ai, okay, and they track foot traffic across all sorts of businesses, but they track it in retail. And you're like, well, how do they know what's in my business? And who's shopping my store? How do they know that? Hello. It's called cell phone data. Okay, they know how many cell phones are in your store at any given time. They know that. Okay, and I'm not going to get into the whole Big Brother watching me, and I could tell stories on that. Okay, I've seen raw data. It can get a little spooky, Big Brother. That's not what this is about. But the reality is people are in your store on Sunday. Okay, and I'm not saying you have to be there all day, but you should be there some of the day on Sunday if you don't have a bona fide religious exemption. You should also be there, okay, after 5 p.m. because if you are only open till 5 p.m., you are open for your convenience, not for working people. And we are well past the time. Call back to office mandates. I did a whole lesson just on this where people were that with the data that shows that people are shopping into the early evening. So staffing your stores and being open later during the week helps, okay, and helps your sales. Brick and mortar is not dead. Boring brick and mortar is dead. Don't be the boring store. But to your website again, A well-maintained website with a broad selection of your inventory, okay, a cross-section of your inventory, it does not have to be everything, okay, will lift your in-store sales 10 to 15%, okay? So if you want to grow your store sales by 10 to 15%, a well-maintained website uh, uh, will do that. Okay, a well-maintained website. A well-maintained website it starts with a cross section. I say start with where you are now. Okay, if you have 5% of your inventory online, if you look and you say, I got about 5% of my inventory on my website, start with that 5% and maintain that every day. Take pictures of 5% of the items you add today, a cross section of them. Not all. Don't put the pressure on yourself uh, to get everything right. Okay, okay, and everything on there. You can get there if that's your goal. Okay, but work on getting to 6%, 7% if you're at 5% now. Okay, and make sure it's a cross section of your inventory. That's where growth happens. But when you do that, you will drive people to your brick and mortar store. You will drive people coming in. I love stores that I work with and seeing the surprise on their face. You know, somebody came in with a picture of an item from our website on their phone and asked about it. My phone rang yesterday and somebody asked, for a measurement on an item. Again, progress, not perfection. You don't have to have everything on there. Just a good representative shot. It doesn't have to be the perfect shot. You don't have to go edit every photo. Don't go edit every photo. Okay? It's not a good use of labor. The labor is better spent on getting more items on your website. Uh, so my action is making sure your hours are right on your site. And add 10 items that aren't currently listed. Sunday is usually the afternoon is best on Sundays. Sundays is a slower start. So great question, Danielle. If you go, if you're going to give me 4 hours on Sunday, I thank you. I thank you for that. And I'd say 12 to 4. I'd say 12 to 4 if you're going to give me 4 hours on Sunday. And if you're currently closed, at 5, I use the example of 5, and I know somebody's going to say, well, I'm open till 5:30. I would go till 6 or 7. Till 7 is my preference as a minimum. Um, you know, uh, 1 or 2 nights a week. Usually towards the end of the week, Thursdays uh, are a great night for that. On average, based on the data that I have for the stores that I work with, I have a lot of data from stores that I work with on their sales, and they tend to do a little bit better there Thursday, Friday. But really, being there for people, okay, you have to remember it is showing up for your customer, okay. I get it. You've been there all day. You've been there all day, and then they come in at the end of the day. But that can be some of the best customers. That can be some of the best people. If you're in furniture and home decor, that can be the woman who brings in her husband for the butt test on the couch and say, yeah, this works, and they buy it. It pushes that along, it moves things forward. And that is what you're trying to do. You're trying to get those connections, because the more what's called in retail dwell time, the more that phone sits in your store, the more that person spends in your building, the more they will spend. The more time you can get them to spend in your building. It is a common retail metric, okay? And they're always trying to extend that. They're always trying to extend that. Ashley, yes, I would say at least one day a week, stay open later. And I would also challenge you, if you're not already, as a kids store, that's a great question from a kids store. I would challenge you to be open earlier. I don't know how early you open, but earlier is also helpful with kids, because as moms get out and do their stuff, they like to have some place to go, okay? And, if they just dropped off the kids at school or daycare, Ashley, I love you. I love you. 9 a.m. that you're open. That is awesome. I love that. So many How do I feel about being closed on Monday and Tuesday? Elizabeth, do you pay rent on Monday and Tuesday? If you pay rent on Monday and Tuesday, I would argue that you are not selling well through a closed door. I'm concerned about your mental health. I want you to have your mental health, but I want an employee to pay for themselves so that you can at least be open. Not overthink it, progress over perfection, okay? But you're not selling through a closed door. One of my sayings is you're not alone running this store. Most store owners feel like they're alone. They turn to social media for validation. Uh, but honestly, it is not how you grow. I can tell you from experience. Social media breaks my heart because you hear stores either pouting how awful it is or pouting how great they are. Okay? And the truth lies somewhere in the middle. And so I don't kiss and tell about any individual store. I never do that, but some of the stuff on social really pains me. And you improve again, like the greatest example is stop worrying about somebody else's grass, worry about your own. When you want to improve your business, when you concentrate on what's inside your four walls, you make absolutely fabulous and fantastic things happen. Okay, when you work on you, when you work on your four walls, and it's not all the change, it's the 1 to 3 things. It's the one thing that I'm going to work on this next period of time that makes the difference. It's consistency. It is showing up and taking those steps. It's not about taking all the steps, even if you can see them. I don't want it to scare you. I don't want all the steps to scare you, but I want you to work with intention. Um, Work with intention. Because as Zig Ziglar said, okay, for Zig Ziglar, the great business motivational speaker, you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. I'm going to say that again. You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start. You have to start. You have to start moving forward to be great. Just a quick in closing, how I work with stores. The two primary ways I work with stores is I have my Resale Rise education program, membership program, structured curriculum that is built for resale store owners specifically. There are 7 chapters to it: financial, inventory, marketing, operations, and more. Um, these are all pre-recorded lessons. The great thing is each lesson includes a video, a workbook, and a quiz for every lesson. And if you have a bigger staff, you can even assign lessons to them to watch. And a community of store owners growing together. I also do one-on-one coaching, personalized growth for your specific store, working on your specific dreams, holding your hand, and walking with you. I challenge you today, 4 actions. Which one are you going to take? Which one is your priority? Not all of them, not all 4. Which priority is yours in the next 30 days? Is it a wish, goal, or fantasy? What's the item in your store the longest? Okay. If you have a team, make it a challenge. Okay. Make it a challenge. Are you going to go live this week? Okay. And are you gonna fix your hours and add 10 items to your website? Okay. Fix your hours and add 10 items to your website. Again, this is about progress, not perfection. Pick one and start it. Just start. Okay. Take the step. But I'm going to challenge you a step further. One more step. If it isn't written, it isn't real. Okay. So write your one priority down, what you're going to do, when you're going to do it by, and who's going to hold you accountable. A friend, a neighbor, me. Email me. I'll hold you accountable. Neil, Neil at resalerise.com. Neil at resalerise.com. But writing makes it real. Stick it up. Post it on the wall. Okay? Post it on your computer monitor, because when you write it down, it goes from wish or fantasy to goal, and it makes it happen. It's scary. It's scary. I know it's scary. But you can do scary things. You've already done scary things. You opened a business. Most people never do what you have done. Most people never do it. Average mere mortals never do what you have done. You have done that. But write this down. Unlock your potential. You can do this. Your next step starts now. Pick one thing from today and go do it. Here's how you can connect with me at resalerise.com. Join our Facebook community and the Resale Rise Store Owner Network. And again, you can email me. You can connect with me on the website. You can sign up for our membership, which is on sale right now. You can make an appointment directly with me, and you can email me any other questions that I haven't answered, or something that is nagging at you, or you're like, that just didn't click with me, Neil. I heard you, but it didn't click. Just email me, Neil, Neil, at resalerise.com. I've been doing this for a long, long time, helping store owners just like you get where they want to be, because that's where the win is. I get so excited watching you grow, watching you take that next step. Sabrina, any questions that I missed in here? I think I hit the ones that I saw as they came across.
Yeah, I think we're good. I don't see any others. If there are any that we missed that trickle in, we can follow up via email. But thank you so much, Neil. This was amazing.
It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure. This is a lot of fun. This is a great group of store owners. The SimpleConsign store owners are great users, and really work on growing their business. My pleasure, Donna. Ashley, one of the ones I'd start with is the new sell-through report, but the other report that I love to look at is just your sales report and the three numbers to know, because the three numbers to know are some of the biggest ways you can grow it. And I have whole lessons on the three numbers to know, but they are your average sale, your units per transaction, how many items are in each bag, how many items left your store, and it's not about the big number, it's the little numbers, it's the fractions that matters. uh uh and your average sale. So moving those and working on those can have unbelievable effects on your growth, on your profitability, and on the cash in there. Yeah, beautiful. Thank you all so much. I really appreciate you having me here. I look forward to coming again. Anytime you want me, Sabrina, I'm here for you.
Thanks so much. And if you guys have any questions, you can email marketing@simpleconsign.com or neil@resalerise.com. Thank you,
Perfect.
everyone.
Thank you.